Hello guys and welcome to the channel. This is Baby Roll. In today's video I want to talk about the new weapon for Ranger. It's double maces. It will be coming in the next major batch, and right now we are in the beta testing for the weapon, and as you can see I don't have icons for the weapon. We know Arena said it was not finalized and it is what it is. However, I found it a bit annoying to keep my head in it or really connect with the weapon, but it is completely understandable. Now I want to explain how the weapon works, its roles, what it's going to be used for, and even my own build for it, or if I'm going to use it. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is a melee weapon, two maces, main hand and offhand, that have a unique mechanic connected to it. It is a power weapon that does not have conditions on it, and it can give you boons and healing and stuff like that. So it's mainly going to be used for power builds and support builds, or at least majorly power builds too. Now, what is the mechanic that come with it? Basically, you stack a unique mechanic called nature strings, and if you reach 6 stacks, you immediately gain the effect called force of nature. Force of nature, you grow large, you gain 25% increase in damage, power damage, and 25% increase in healing to others, not yourself. And you gain 5 stacks of stability, even so if it's not shown here as the details, but 5 stacks of stability for 5 seconds. I have 100% boon duration and I gain them for 10 seconds. This effect lasts for 5 seconds, and when it's end, you will have another effect called tab out that will last for 15 seconds when you can't gain any other stack. So you can gain stacks from the auto attack itself, but it will max at 5, so it will trigger only once you use other skills, so you get to have actual control when it lands. And the effect itself will travel from any other weapon. Once the natural strings happen, you will reset all your mace skills. So we are back to spamming Untamed. I know a lot of people missed it, but now you're going to be able to spam your skills again and again with Untamed. And once you have the effect of tab out, you can leave for other weapon and get back to this one once you're able to gain the effects once more. Also, if you play Untamed, the unleash ambush skills for the weapon can actually land you the effect. So you end up having 5 skills here. This will give you 1, this will give you 1, this will give you 1, and this one will give you 2. And if you land the unleash ambush, that means total 6 without even going into auto attack chain. If you're not running Untamed, you would have to do 1 auto attack chain at least in order to gain the full 6 stacks. Obviously, most of the time you want to gain to use auto attack chain even once, so you would trigger the vigor from the auto attack here. So what happens if you're running only offhand or main hand? If you're running main hand with Untamed, you can gain the effect with Unleash Ambush. If you're not running Untamed, you can gain with the auto attack and also with the other 2 skills. So it's very easy to go to 6 stacks, even if it is a bit slower and not as spammy if you're running both maces. But if you're running offhand only, the effect itself lasts for 15 seconds, natural strength, that stack for 6 times. And every time you have it again, it will reset the entire duration for 15 seconds. Which means those 2 skills without alacrity, without anything, this one have 12 seconds and this one have 20. So even if you start with this one, but optimally start with this, you will have it off cooldown before the effect go out, and you can do it again to reset the effect. And once you use both of them twice, so use this one and then this one, come off cooldown, use this one and then this one, that's already 6. Because this one give you 1 and you're going to use it 2 times. And this one give you 2 and you're going to use it 2 times, so it's already 6. Let's look at it. And if I get them off cooldown again, I can simply use it again and then use this one, and I will get 6 stacks and I will get the effect. So even if using only the offhand, you will able to trigger the attack, the force of nature effect. However, you will have to wait for those 2 skills to come off cooldown once again. So you'll get it every other time of your cooldown. And once you trigger the effect, they will come off cooldown again, so you can simply start spamming your damage. Now, what else the Mace offers? So, like I said, it's a melee weapon. The first auto attack chain will give you 6 seconds of vigor with 100% boon duration, which means it is insanely permanent vigor. It's way too easily without in giving into or going into traits for any support build or whatever. The second one will give you regeneration, 8 seconds on a 6 second cooldown. The last one will give you protection, 8 seconds on a 12 second cooldown, and it have a stun on it. The second skill actually have a delay and then heal. So it have damage and heal and have regeneration on it. And this one is a leap, just like the Revenant. It's a bit sluggish, especially if you're moving while casting it. You feel like you don't move this far. Like I'm going to my target and I use it. It feels a little bit small, but it is quite snappy. The whole weapon act a bit fast, and it feels very good to use actually. Now, this is probably my favorite skill, because this one will do damage, will give you barrier whether you hit a target or not. It's completely under your control, even if you're running away from enemies or whatever you're doing. And will give you 1 second of stability. Remember, I have 100% bond duration, so it's 2 seconds. And it will remove 2 conditions. Also, it will hit up to 5 targets on a 240 radius, so it is very decent. And every target it will strike, it will remove an extra condition 4. So the maximum number of conditions removed is 7, which give you a very reliable way in PvE or open world in general to actually be able to condition cleanse and sustain yourself. Unlike Hammer, you don't have to go in and out of the weapon with Untamed, for example, to gain this barrier or this extra damage, or choose the less damaging skills in the Hammer to gain barrier or actually hit target with it, because the Hammer cannot give you barrier without a target to actually hit. This one can be simply triggered like that and you get a decent barrier. And for every target you hit, you will give even much more barrier for a maximum of like 13k or something like that. Probably for me it would max out since I don't have this much health anyway. And the last one is multiple hits that you can use it and even jump while using it, actually while casting the skill itself. You can simply move completely free, as you can see, and it will land its hits completely normally. And in the last hit it will trigger daze. So it's not from the start, it will not cancel anything. So even if you're in a competitive mode and you land your stun and you want to start casting it, the stun will be continuing on the enemy because the daze will happen at the last part. So it will not mess up any setup for a burst. It's very smart how it works. Also, I need you to remember one thing. If you trigger Force of Nature, you end up resetting all those weapon skills. So this duration for a boon that we talked about, like regeneration or protection, will be double because you're going to use it immediately again. So let's look at it. And immediately I get to use it again. And as you can see, I have much more protection, and I can already reset my regeneration and my protection is coming off cooldown and go on. However, this thing will hold you down a bit because it's 15 seconds to stop you, so you would need to weapon swipe or do something else, not simply sticking to this weapon. So that's basically how the weapon works. So what its role? We already explained that it's a power weapon and support weapon in general. For support druid, usually you would run staff and you would run warhorn on the offhand and probably axe or whatever, but most people would run axe on the main hand because there is no other weapon, there was no support weapon. Right now you still run warhorn because warhorn is superior to this. This part is not about support, it's pure damage and CC, and also this is only for you, so it doesn't help anyone else. While warhorn will give again another CC, the same days, you give weakness, and you will gain many boons, and if you run it with the trait you will gain regeneration, also for the other skills, both invulnerability and gain regeneration to your allies. While in the main hand you would run the Mace, so you would give people vigor, you would get them healing and regeneration, and you would also give them protection. The downside in it, I find the radius is very small, so unless I'm the radius for attacking, landing the attack itself, I don't think it will land on my ally. So you see, I'm a bit farther from Jacaranda and she doesn't get anything. The protection, however, it lands on the end of your casting, not on the beginning. So I'll start from here. And as you can see, she doesn't get the protection. It's the radius end up with the way it end up in landing. So if you're stuck into the enemy and using it, everyone around you will take it completely fine, but if you're moving toward it, no one will get it. So this idea of having a small radius for the boon is a bit annoying to use for support, but I thought you should know it obviously. And the fact that you can use your own skills and then reset them and use them again will mean you will have double this healing, while 25% more to other allies as a way to increase your own healing. With Druid mechanic also you can actually increase the healing even further with a trait like this, increase healing to other allies in general, and you can give them again the same protection. So that's clearly gonna be the weapon for support. Now how about bar builds or whatever other choices? Let's talk about the problem with Mace. The problem with Mace is that for normal builds, not support builds, it does not generally feel like a new weapon, especially if you're gonna play Untamed. You see, you have access to some healing, barrier, you have access to 2 CC skills, and you have access to immobilize through the unleash ambush skill with barrier. If you're running hammer with Untamed, you have also the choice of having barrier, 2 CC skills, immobilize, and protection. It's very similar in how it works. They both melee weapons, they both cleave, they both have some mobility on them, whatever. However, they are ranging from which do what better. So for mobility, for example, hammer have insane mobility comparing to Mace. Mace kinda sucks because you can use this skill twice like that in and out of unleash if you run Untamed, which is very great. You can do that obviously use any other class, but Untamed can do it, and even without it, it can move to 600 radius, which is much better. Even both of them have 1 blast finisher, so they are very similar in how it works. And I can't talk of numbers because this is not finalized version, so this do higher damage or this do higher damage, Arena is gonna decide what's do what when actually released and through balance. So if they find Mace do too much damage, they will nerf it. If they find it not do enough or they want to really push it against the hammer, then they will buff it. Right now I was able to get on Mace more damage actually than the hammer, so right now Mace even seems better. However, I find Mace to be generally better than hammer. This problem happens when you play Untamed, because if you play any other class than Untamed, you can't access the 2 forms of the hammer. You would have to choose. If you want the high damage, you would sacrifice the immobilize and protection here, you would sacrifice the barrier, you would sacrifice all the CC even. So you would have to mix and match, choose one. Like the double days you would run it instead of the boon removal, but you would run this skill for boons, for example. And even with Untamed, the fact that you need to get in and out all the time can be a bit not as optimal as Mace, I would say. So for Mace, without, it doesn't matter whether you're unleashed or your bit's unleashed. The moment you need stability, you access it. On hammer, you have to actually land a CC. Here, you can land the CC, this one or this one to gain stability while your bit is unleashed from this trait. But you want stability while you are unleashed. You want to stick to higher damage, then simply use this skill, and now you have stability. Even just triggering the force of nature will give you stability. For to do that in hammer, you have to use the unleash ambush skill, which also means you switch between the states to access it, or on weapon switch if you are running the trait let loose, because it will trigger it immediately. So my point is, this felt much easier to use, much more simpler, much more safe, and even less risky than hammer. And the fact that it was this spammy, it was much enjoyable if you like the old Untamed of being able to spam your skills. We are kinda back to it. You spam a lot of skills, you gain them as a cooldown again, and you spam them again, and it can help with force fortification in a correct rotation. And only I was able to really maximize my damage with a very correct location. So I would enter and cast this skill and then all of them, and I gain 6 immediately, and then spam my skills again and then switch weapon. Something like that. If I didn't, I would finish one only autocast, and even if I had it one autocast and then spam all my skills and access it again. And even if I didn't do the unleash ambush first, or didn't have it because I want to use it on Axe or whatever, I would use only one auto attack chain, whether before or after the duration, just to gain the vigor. And you would be able to have much more boons than running the hammer. So between Axe you gain might, and other boons from here, might from here, and even this skill, you copy boons backward and forward through your bit, and stacking many boons from the Mace itself. You will always have boons, which very nice to work even with a trait like this, increasing your damage depending on boon. It felt very rewarding to play. It's very close, like you can still run hammer, no problem, but this is probably gonna be my updated version from my power build for Untamed for open world, the solo one. You already know it probably, so the soloing for champion legendaries and maybe the build itself. And this is gonna be the updated version for, because I think once it released, depending on its number, depending on how it finally, the final version work, but I think how relaxing this form was, I might end up running Mace over Hammer, even so the difference is not that big. Now, if you don't run Untamed, like for Power, Soulbeast or whatever, things can be quite different in how you run things, because depending on how you choose your skills in Hammer, it will decide whether you have CC, or damage, or barrier, or you don't have anything, while with Mace, you will always have the entire thing and all the mechanics that come with it. So it's up for Internet how to balance those things and how to finalize the form. But this is basically going to be my updated version. This is the build, and I'm still using Jacaranda with the turtle. I'm using double mace and axe warhorn, and I'm still using those traits. I have a lot of vigor in this, so I probably left the vigor trait for the bleed, which have no value for me whatsoever, but since it's a power build, but it's the only thing I have. And I'm running Strider Strings for might, and also Vicious Quarry, since the Fury can give me more damage. And obviously you can do some your own tricks with it, like running Quick Draw to the skill like that, for example, and reset it even faster and use it again, or use 2 Thistle Guards back to back. It can feel very nice. And the fact you can use skill like this back to back with more stability, more barrier, and more condition cleanse is very, very enjoyable. And I'm running Nature Magic with Bountiful Hunter and Evasive Priority, actually, to have a condition cleanse. And I'm running Invigorating Bond, which I don't really need with the amount of healing I can access and the amount of protection I can access, and even the vigor, but it felt like the only logical choice, and I want the straight line for the boon duration and giving boon back for some, like to the bit and from the bit. And I'm running Untamed with Nature Shield, but you can run any other of them. I'm just enjoying the barrier, I guess, access, and Enhancing Impact with Restorative Strike. Also with this form, you don't have like the old build, have to run the Sigil of Generosity with the Sigil of Cleansing, which was my best choice. Even so, we have some condition cleanses and even cleanse on dodges and stuff. I always felt I needed more in case you really throw it into an area with even mobs can corrupt your condition boons or stuff like that. However, with this one, you don't have to, because you have this skill that will cleanse even more condition. So it feels much better than actually running the hammer. You have even more barrier to soak into some of the condition damage than you can get in PvE. So my general opinion of the mace, I like how it is. I wished I got a condition build or a hybrid weapon out of the what's coming, or the mace itself. But maybe I will have to wait for the next expansion if they give us another weapon, hopefully rifle or pistol or something like that. So tell me what you think about the mace. Do you like it? Did you enjoy it? Have you even tried it? I will be reading the comments, and I will be seeing you next time. Peace.